This is a show I like called It's Your Move, and I never saw it back in the day because I guess it was canceled too fast. I was too young. I didn't know about it or whatever. But this is one of the shows that really decided the fate of the entire country, whether it was subliminal or not. From this very show right here, it was a scary downhill slope when it comes to creativity in television. In this particular show, episode 14, um, for some reason, I was watching the whole thing on YouTube. I didn't know anything about anything, right? So the mom caught the son in the act and decided to scold him and basically force him to not do any schemes anymore, which made the show completely different. It was still a fun show, but it was very different. The original premise was gone. I had a feeling something was up of the show, some behind the scenes nonsense, because why would you kill something that fast, like a premise that fast so quickly? It's another thing like where the show is, like 3 seasons later, it's getting kind of stale, but in the first season, so there's something I want to look at right here on Wikipedia that only Wikipedia can show me about the air dates, because this is very important stuff here. I watched the entire thing in about a week, so I kind of know the premise of the shows by looking at the title. So there's two things I'm looking at here. No, three things I'm looking at here. The title, written by, which is not really in the show. That easily directed by is in the beginning. Written by, very important, in the air dates. How long people had to wait for the next episode, and that way it may or may not have gotten strong ratings. It was also against Dynasty on ABC. In case you don't know Dynasty, Dynasty was a super popular show back in the 80s. Phenomenally huge. So that could take the sales out of things. Also, you got to remember that back then, not a lot of channels. There were back in the early 80s, 5 channels. 3 channels actually. CBS, NBC, and ABC. Everything else is filler. Fox didn't come into play until 87. And the WB was on and off. So it's basically 2. Yeah, at that time it was channel 2, channel 4, and channel 7. That's it. So I'm guessing this kind of show would be on NBC. It's kind of over the top, kind of crass, and NBC would kind of do something like that. But Dynasty was on ABC for sure. So here we go. Let's look at this one because it's very curious to me. It's not going to get a lot of views, but I'm just venting some stuff out here. So here we go. Some revelations there. So it's pilot. I remember it was not called pilot, anything like that. Written by the creators. That's good shit here. 26 to 84. So people who saw the pilot had to wait not too long until the next episode, about a week. That's good. So it did well. They aired it next week there. So 1 week, 1 week, 1 week. That's good. 2 weeks later on for that one. Okay, now I'm curious. Why that one? I remember, yes, Pajama Party. That was the one notable to me because I believe the cute girl on the show, guest stars. No, it's the main stars. Trisha Cast, the daughter, she was, her legs were shown, and I believe her midriff was shown, because it was a Pajama Party. The guy, both Matthew and Eli were scheming to get some information, and they were trying to find something. And like I said, they were bugging a sleepover per se. And so yeah, that was interesting. So written by somebody else, main creators here, dating games. A good episode here, definitely good stuff here. Love letters. I think wasn't that later on as well, but they did the love letter thing a lot there. More or less, this episode was about, so 2 weeks later, people have to wait and see this one. This was done by a couple of girls this time. This is interesting. So, basically, in the end, it was it was a cat and mouse game of who was believing who when it comes to love letters. Either Matt was writing them or someone else was writing them. So it was confusing Norman At the time, Steve were married with children. Norman, on who was writing what letter, and it was a back and forth game between them, and he didn't know what was going on between them. So that was a really good episode. Okay, wait a week. Okay, so I would just assume there was a preemption there of some sorts. So I don't think it wasn't against the show. So wait a week. Wait about a week. That's not too bad. Something's not right here. More or less, so 30, was that 31 or something like that? Okay, I'll get benefit of the doubt. Okay, cool there. Wait a week. Oh, okay. So more or less it's the same here. The rival. This is a good one. They rarely showed anybody else flirting with the mom, except for this episode. Turns out that the person that was flirting with the mom was hired by Matthew, but then Norman turned it against Matthew by hiring the guy to get more money out of Norman, out of Matthew. Really good back and forth game with this one. This is really good. How can a kid imitate that joint? Or pay people to? This is real life stuff. This works even now. This kind of stuff back then in this show works now. You pay people to do things for you so you don't got to do it. Make people think someone else did it. This is a really good episode. Remember, that was really good. Written by the creators. Yeah, excellent stuff there. Norman takes over a maths English class. None of the episodes were bad. But if I were to say they did do this episode, I wouldn't be surprised. Norman takes over the English. It wasn't. Is this the one? If that's the one where I believe it is. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, nothing else like that one. If this is the one when the lady that Matt hires took over for Norman in the classroom because he wanted to get Norman fired, so they have to deal with him. So he hired a lady to be the new teacher, but the teacher decided to scam Matt and all the other students in the classroom to give her stuff in order to get good grades. So in the end, he needed Norman's help to get her fired, or needed help to get her to quit. Couldn't get her fired because the popularity. That was a good episode. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I remember the whole thing. It was pretty good. Okay, so a week later, I'm really interested in the bottom stuff here. Norman takes over. Okay, so Matt sabotages Norman and Eileen's get away by canceling. This is kind of sus, because even back then, I don't think any bank would just take your word and just cancel your stolen credit card without any kind of proof. No social, no proof of residency. You just take someone's word, that's someone's first and last name, and that's good enough there. Get the credit card canceled. I didn't buy that one. But visually very good because they're going on the train. There's a lot of bums there. So that was kind of cool. Christmas show. Wow. Yeah, this is awesome. This is way better than I thought it was going to be. I thought for sure they would make. Okay, the creators had their hand in this one. I thought, both episodes are really good because I thought they were going to make Eli fuck up like they usually do, but they didn't make him fuck up, and they made the skeleton band, literally a skeleton band, really popular. The music was really good too. Everyone's having a good time. Matt and Eli were forced to to be really good, or else get beat up or whatever. But yeah, they pulled it off there really well. Yeah, it was done well. And the not actual band was really popular. So yeah, that was good stuff there. Caught in the act, and then here we go. So in reality, they had to wait. Okay, so they didn't want to air the show on Christmas, so they waited a week after. Okay, I can probably see why they did that. So I'm not saying anything suspicious going on there. It's probably like a respect thing. Don't air on the Christmas or whatever. But yeah, really good episode to start the year off. So that was good there too. Strong follow up there as well. So doing a good 2-parter was really good there. I was very invested into these 2 episodes for sure. Caught in the act. That's when the show took a jump shark. So he wanted to get his mother a raise because she was being screwed over at work. He had a scheme to go into the place and convince the security guard to give him the keys to the office, which is kind of sus right there because there's a lot of keys on that ring, but he found the right ring. I was looking very closely because how did he get into the office? Like, I didn't see him turn a knob or anything like that. Magically, the door opened up there. So for some reason, he was bragging in the beginning part of the episode about 72-0 or whatever, like how many schemes he got away with. He was bragging about his schemes in typical WWE fashion. As soon as you brag, you lose. So, and Brock Lesnar right now is not bragging about things. That's why he's not losing anyway. So he's bragging, staying a whole bunch of time in the office, and for some reason, the mom shows up there to catch him in the act, and that's when he couldn't do any more schemes anymore. So here we go. I'm reading this right here. Okay, Walter Reyes, show Saturdays replaced on Wednesdays by Sarah. What the fuck is Sarah? So fuck. That did it right there. Not anything else. When the Bundys changed times and days, they lost. They lost. And this was not even written by the writers either. That's why the show wasn't that polished and good. It wasn't written by the creators. This was perfect. This show's perfect. Okay, so if the security guard just had a few keys in there and Matt turned around and tested all the key rings really quickly, I would buy that. But that key ring had like 30. But Matt happened to get the right one? Fuck out of here. Did he study beforehand? No, he didn't. He just magically got the right one. So, yeah, holes. So they didn't write a single episode together after that episode. As soon as they moved to Saturday, it was over. So this one aired a week later, but the time changed, which means ratings are gonna shoot down. They always do. Even in wrestling, it shoots down. Woman is a woman. Yeah. As you can see here, there's like no more schemes here in the credits. So like so the last episode is basically whodunits. Really well done, Alfred Hitchcock style. So that was done like who was messing with Julie the entire time. Trisha Cast was messing with her. And then every single person on that episode. Eli was there, the janitor was there, Norman was there, Principal was there, everybody was there in that episode. Usually they mix and match, but everyone was there in this episode in some way, shape, or form. Good wear, farewell, amen. That has nothing to do with the episode. That's the title. Okay. So 1 week later, and then 1 week later. So they didn't really screw the show over when it comes to like being out of sight and out of mind. Out of like having a long gap in between. But yeah, they did screw them by moving to Saturdays. That I did not know of. Both of them were really good on the show, and all of them were really good. And not saying anything less about anybody else. I don't think anybody really acted badly. Maybe Eli was bad on purpose because he played like a ditz, but he played his job very well. Everything was cool. So yeah, I can see why the show got canceled when it got moved another day. After probably this episode of the scheming, they got a call, and they had to do this episode, which explains the big gap in between. See, the big gap between this one can be explained via Christmas stuff. 7 days later from this one is about 26, 25. They didn't want to air on the Christmas episodes. You can explain that one. That's not a big deal. But this one, this gap between 9 and 26, you can't explain that one. You can't explain that. MLK Day, they don't really care. No, there's no explanation. The only explanation, in reality, they're trying to fight some lawsuit bullshit. So that's why they didn't air it. It probably was already in the can, so they couldn't air it until they had to reshoot episodes or whatever, put them in a different order or whatever. So this episode had to do with this one, but all these three here in the middle there, it was just Matt didn't want to do the scheming, but he didn't really want to say why. Only this episode did they acknowledge that. So yeah, this one could have been like, 16th. After that one, 23. Oh yeah, because it had to move like days or whatever, so probably push it up a little bit there. Yeah, the change in dates and the feel of the show got changed as well. that meant the end of the show because